I grew up in the kind of loneliness that clings to your skin. My mom worked double shifts, and I spent most nights staring at the peeling wallpaper. I grew up in the kind of loneliness that clings to your skin. My mom worked double shifts, and I spent most nights staring at the peeling wallpaper of our cramped apartment, pretending the faint hum of traffic outside was a lullaby meant for me. I never had friends, never had anyone who stayed longer than a few conversations. Silence became a kind of parent, raising me with cold hands. When I turned 20, I started traveling for cheap jobs, just to feel like my life wasn't shrinking around me. That's how I ended up at the old roadside hotel. It looked tired, like me, like it was barely holding itself up. I remember stepping into room 9 for the first time, feeling something heavy in the air. Not threatening, just familiar. A sadness that felt almost alive, like it recognized me. The room was small, dim, and smelled faintly of mildew, but it was quiet, and quiet was something I understood. I dropped my bag onto the bed and tried to settle in, but an uneasiness pushed against the edges of my mind. I brushed it off as exhaustion. Later that night, when the hallway lights dimmed, I heard a soft tapping from the wall behind the bed. Not pipes, not the shifting of the building, a deliberate tap. Slow, rhythmic, like someone knocking gently with a single finger. I whispered, "Hello?" even though I prayed nothing would answer. The tapping stopped. For a moment, I convinced myself I imagined it. Then I heard something far worse, a breath. A shaky, trembling exhale sliding out from behind the wall, too close, too human. I froze, listening, my pulse hammering behind my ribs.
I pressed my ear against the wall, even though every instinct begged me not to. The breathing grew louder, wet, uneven, like someone struggling to inhale. Then, faintly, a raspy whisper pushed through the plaster. "You came back." My stomach twisted. I stumbled away from the wall, shaking my head. I'd never been here before, never even passed this town. I tried turning on the TV to drown the noise, but the power flickered, then died completely. The air in the room thickened, temperature dropping so fast my fingertips numbed. The whisper came again, closer now, like it was moving behind the wall toward me. "Don't hide from me." My breath caught. I backed toward the door, but it wouldn't open. The knob wouldn't even turn. I wasn't trapped physically. Something else had locked me in, something waiting just out of sight. The wall behind the bed creaked, then bowed outward, as if someone were leaning against it from the other side. I watched in paralyzed silence as fingers, thin, darkened, trembling, pressed through a crack in the plaster, not breaking it, sliding through it, like flesh didn't need space to exist. A voice followed, sharp and familiar in a way I couldn't place. "Turn around," it whispered. "Let me see you." I wanted to scream, but fear silenced me. The fingers curled, scraping lightly against the wall like they were savoring the texture. "I've missed you," the voice whispered. And then it hit me. Why it sounded familiar. It wasn't a stranger's voice. It was mine. A distorted, broken version of my own voice, dripping with something rotten. Hearing myself speak from inside the wall shattered something inside me. I staggered backward until I hit the dresser. My reflection in the TV screen stared back, wide-eyed, panicked. But behind me, in the warped glare, another figure stood. My shape, my height, my outline, but twisted, hunched, wrong. I spun around, but the room was empty. Only the wall still bulged slightly, the fingers retreating. "Don't leave again," the voice said. My voice, but wet, gurgling.
My vision blurred as memories I didn't recognize burned through my mind. A hallway, a broken mirror, my own face screaming silently. I pressed my palms to my temples, but the images kept coming, sharp and painful. "You left me in the dark," the voice said. "You shut me away." My knees buckled. I didn't remember any of this, but the thing in the wall remembered me, and it hated me. The lights flickered back on, but they buzzed violently, casting long, twitching shadows across the room. The bulge in the wall split open like a mouth tearing wide. A hand, my hand, but swollen, bruised, twisted, reached out fully now. It slapped against the floor, pulling something bigger behind it. My body locked in place. The creature crawled out slowly, dragging itself like its bones were broken. Its face was my face, but gray, rotted, sagging in places like wet clay. Its eyes were hollow sockets dripping thick black tears. It tilted its head at me. "You forgot what you did," it said, but I didn't. I tried to move, but my limbs were heavy, as if gravity tightened around me. It crawled closer, leaving streaks of dark fluid on the floor, its breath sharp and cold against my skin. I scrambled onto the bed, pressing myself against the headboard like a trapped animal. The creature pulled itself upright, bones cracking with every movement. It smiled with my mouth, stretched too wide, too thin. "I waited," it whispered, "years in the dark." It stepped toward me, and the room warped. The ceiling grew taller, the shadows deepened, the walls seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. I couldn't breathe. It reached out and touched my ankle. Agony shot through my leg, cold, burning, electrifying. I jerked away, but the pain spread up my body, paralyzing me. "You're the reason I exist," it hissed. "You made me." Its fingers dug into my skin, leaving dark impressions like it was marking me. I screamed, but the sound felt swallowed by the room. The creature leaned close, its breath like spoiled meat. The creature placed its forehead against mine, and my mind cracked open. Memories, real ones, flooded out. I saw myself as a child, huddled in my room, whispering to the dark corners because I had no one else. I created a friend, a shadow version of myself, a copy born from loneliness and fear. For years, I fed it my secrets, my pain, until it felt real. But when I grew older, I shut it out, pretended it never existed. I moved on. It didn't. It stayed trapped in the dark space behind my memories, growing bitter, growing monstrous. "You abandoned me," it growled, "and I learned to live without you." My body shook uncontrollably. The truth hollowed me out. This thing wasn't just familiar. It was my childhood loneliness made flesh, twisted by years of neglect. The creature shoved me down onto the bed, pinning me with impossible strength. "We're not done," it snarled. My throat tightened as it pressed its forehead to mine again. My vision darkened around the edges. I felt it digging into my mind, pulling memories apart, replacing them with its own. My past blurred, my name, my mother, my life, all slipping. "I'll take what you don't want," it said. "I'll take the life you wasted." I clawed at its arms, but my hands passed through its skin like thick smoke. The walls closed in, shrinking, suffocating. The lights flickered out, leaving only the creature's hollow eyes glowing faintly. It leaned down, its voice a broken whisper. "You're finally coming home." I felt myself slipping into a void, as if my soul were being peeled away layer by layer. When the lights snapped back on, I wasn't in the hotel room anymore. I was inside the wall, pressed in darkness so tight I couldn't move. I could see through cracks in the plaster, watching the creature, my other self, stand in the room and my body, breathing with lungs that should have been mine. It looked around, adjusting to its new shape. It smiled again, but this time the smile fit perfectly. It whispered, "You stay here. I'll live." I tried to scream, but no sound escaped, only a faint, muffled tap against the wall. The same tap I'd heard my first night. The creature picked up my bag, opened the door, and walked out into the world wearing my face. And I remain here, trapped, forgotten, a whisper behind the walls of room 9, waiting for someone to hear me, just like I once heard it.